The job of particle theories is pretty simple. It consists of going through the following 4 steps. Step number 1, you build a theory. That is mathematically self-consistent. Step 2, you calculate physical process. Using the theory. And 3, call experimentalist friends to see if the result of the theory agree with experiment. If they agree, celebrate and hope that Nobel Committee will notice you. If they don't, go back to step 1. That's pretty much all particle theorist does with his or her life. However, if one randomly tries every theory that comes to one's mind, one soon realizes that most of them lead to results that have nothing to do with the real world. It also becomes clear that requiring certain specific properties and symmetries helps to weed out unphysical theories. One such requirement is that the theory must be Lorentz invariant. Another symmetry that has proved unexpectedly powerful in the construction of the standard model of particle physics is gauge invariant. However, the standard model is widely considered to be an incomplete theory. Even at energies as low as the Wick scale, about 100 gigaelectronvolt GeV, one key reason is the so-called hierarchy problem that comes from the fact that mass of the Higgs particle receive large correction from loop diagrams. We will talk about this in more detail. So this problem is in the mass of Higgs particle. This correction in principle can be cancelled by a fine-tuning of some parameters of the standard model. But this highly contrived solution seems very unnatural to most physicists. For this reason, the hierarchy problem is also often called a naturalness. Or fine-tuning problem. There is therefore a strong impetus to build new theories goes beyond a standard model while reproducing all of its success, of course. For this, as always, it is useful to have some symmetry principle to guide us in designing those new theories. Now, supersymmetry is such a principle. The basic idea is very simple to state. As the color SU3 group of the standard model reshuffle the color states of a given quark flavor among themselves, and the weak SU2 group mix fields appearing in weak doublets, e.g. the left-handed electron and neutrino states. Supersymmetry is a symmetry that involves changing bosonic and fermionic fields into one another. Changing bosonic and fermionic fields into one another. Supersymmetry solves the hierarchy problem in a most ingenious manner. Fermion and boson loop correction to particle masses cancel one another exactly. Actually, almost all ultraviolet high momentum divergence of conventional quantum field theory disappear in supersymmetric field theories, i.e., theories invariant under supersymmetry transformation, a fact that we will show explicitly with a few examples later in the book. Unfortunately, exact invariance under supersymmetry implies that each existing particle should have a partner of the same mass and same quantum numbers, but with a spin differing by 1/2. Yes. Supersymmetry. Which is obviously not observed in nature. There is no spin 0 or spin 1 particle of the same mass as the electron, for example. However, there is no need to throw away the baby with the bathwater. The same type of problem occurs with the Standard Model, which is based on symmetry under the direct group product. SU3C sorry. One Y. A brief review of the Standard Model will be provided in later lesson. We know that the world is not exactly invariant under this symmetry because this would imply that all gauge bosons would be massless, in contradiction with the observed properties of the W plus minus and Z bosons. The solution in the Standard Model is provided by the spontaneous breaking of the symmetry via the Higgs mechanism. One might therefore hope to find some similar trick to spontaneously break supersymmetry. It turns out that the situation in supersymmetry is a bit more challenging than in the Standard Model, as we will discuss later. In a different vein, something truly remarkable emerged from the simple idea of missing boson and fermion, so this one. Performing two successive supersymmetric transformations on a field gives back the same field but evaluated at a different space-time coordinate than it was initially. Therefore, supersymmetry is intimately linked to space-time transformation. This is unlike any of the internal symmetries of the Standard Model. In fact, if we impose invariance of a theory under local supersymmetric transformation, we find ourselves forced to introduce new fields that automatically reproduce Einstein's general relativity. The resulting theory is called supergravity. Supersymmetry has been showing up in some unexpected places. A notable example is superstring theory. When building a string theory that contains both bosonic and fermionic fields, supersymmetry automatically appears. The fact that the theory exhibits invariance under supersymmetry is the reason it's called superstring theory. Supersymmetry also has been used extensively in many modern developments in mathematical and theoretical physics, such as the Seiberg-Witten duality, ADS-CFT correspondence, theory of brains, and so on. It is important to understand that for now, supersymmetry is purely mathematical concept. We do not know if it has a role to play in the description of nature, at least not yet. But it is very likely that we will find out in the very near future. Indeed, the recent opening of the Large Hadron Collider at the Central European the Research Nuclear (CERN) near Geneva offers the exciting possibilities of finally testing whether supersymmetry plays a role in the fundamental laws of physics. All this makes supersymmetry extremely exciting to learn. Unfortunately, it is quite difficult to teach oneself supersymmetry despite the vast literature on the subject.